Welcome to Deep Language Classes, your guide and mentor to improve language and communication skills. All right, so today we're diving into something that, well, let's be honest, it can fill a lot of us with dread: networking. But what if we could completely flip the script on it? What if, instead of being this awkward kind of transactional thing, it could actually become a skill for building real, strategic, and meaningful connections? Okay, let's get into it and see if we can transform our whole approach from the ground up. So it really boils down to two completely different mindsets. Over on one side, you've got that transactional approach. You know the one. It's all about what you can get. Using these rehearsed lines, it just feels forced because it's all one way. This is exactly what gives networking such a bad rap. But on the other side, we've got the relational approach. This is about providing value, about having a real two-way conversation. And this is where you find that connecting spark.
And look, if that whole transactional mindset just makes your skin crawl, you are so not alone. That feeling, your stomach just doing flips at the thought of a networking event, it is incredibly common. It's basically a sign that the old way of doing things just doesn't feel right, doesn't feel authentic. But the good news is there is a much, much better way.
So that's the big question, right? How do we actually make that shift? How do we get away from that uncomfortable feeling of just trying to take something and move into this really genuine, powerful position of giving? Well, the answer starts with a pretty simple, but actually a really profound pivot in how we think.
And this right here is the secret sauce, the curiosity pivot. This is the big mental shift we're talking about. Instead of obsessing over what you're gonna say or what you're gonna pitch or how you're gonna impress somebody, you just shift your entire focus onto the other person. You lead with real, genuine curiosity. Your mission becomes learning their story. Now, to do that well, we have got to throw out the old tools of transactional networking. And that means we stop asking those tired, lazy icebreakers that everybody sees coming a mile away.
And we start asking questions that actually create value in the conversation. See, high-value questions are open-ended. They invite people to share stories and opinions and real experiences. And that makes the whole thing feel so much more natural and, well, fun.
You see what's happening here? These questions are amazing because they just completely skip past the boring, "So, what do you do?" and they get to something real. Psychologically, they work because they show you're genuinely interested, and they invite the other person to be a little vulnerable. When you ask about a challenge or what inspires someone, you're not asking for a job title. You're asking for their passion, their motivation, their story. And that is how you build actual rapport and a true connection. I love this quote because it just nails what we're trying to do. When you lead with curiosity, you're stepping outside of your own agenda, your space, and you're inviting them to step out of theirs too. You end up building this sort of third space together. Think of it like a temporary neutral ground where your job titles and goals don't matter as much as the conversation you're sharing. It's in this collaborative space that real trust starts to grow. And as you build that trust, your language can start to reflect this new partnership. It's a tiny but huge shift from using I to using we. When you use inclusive language like we, it signals solidarity, a shared purpose. It sends the message that, hey, we're in this together, exploring an idea or a problem as a team, not just as two separate people talking at each other. Okay, so you've had this amazing chat. Now what? You don't want to let that connection just fizzle out, right? This is where closing the loop comes in. First, just be direct and clear. I'd really love to stay in touch. Then propose a real next step, like asking for the best way to connect. And here's the most important part. You have to actually follow up within a day or two. A simple message on LinkedIn or a quick email that mentions your conversation, that's what keeps the momentum going and really cements that new relationship.
Listen, I know this might sound like a total overhaul of how you do things, and that's okay. This is a skill, It's something you learn. It honestly doesn't matter if you're an introvert or an extrovert. The path to genuinely enjoying and even loving networking is open to everybody. It all starts with that simple shift in mindset we've been talking about. And this is really the goal, isn't it? To be that person. When you lead with curiosity, when you listen more than you talk, and when you focus on giving value instead of getting it, you become, magnetic. You become the person people want to connect with, not because you're the loudest one in the room, but because you're the most interested. You're the one sparking those genuine, memorable conversations. If you have liked the content on this channel, please do not hesitate to hit the like and subscribe button. Please also comment on the topic you would like us to cover next.